hear me okay? I like this beat. Shout out to Fawn for giving me this beat.
It's not right. The way you treat me.
Good evening. Good evening. Let me turn this down real fast. Good afternoon. I'm mistaken. Yeah, I'm back with another show, Josie Sports Nation, and I'm really wanted to talk about something today that was on my mind. I actually did a video last week, and I did a video yesterday about this Scottie Pippen, what I call fiasco. Now, if you want to support the channel, definitely hit that cash app. Now, what I want to do is I want to briefly talk about the Scottie Pippen situation. Now, I'm gonna play a clip from the Dan Patrick show. This is actually what uh, stemmed this energy I want to put on this, but I digress. Now, quickly, I'm gonna play this video. Definitely leave a comment and tell me what you think about this video. Do you think Phil Jackson is racist? Did he do racist things? Now, before I put it on, I just want to talk about a little bit of history with the Bulls. Now, like I alluded to before. Oh, sorry, I got a call coming. I got to turn that off. Turn my phone off for a second. Okay, here we go. So, what I alluded to before about Scottie Pippen, and everybody knows this actually stems from um, The Last Dance. Now, for me, I give The Last Dance 10, 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever the amount of stars you can get. Give it an applause for great theatrics. You know, Scottie Pippen been a bitter person for a long time now. I definitely want to put respect on his name because without Scottie, Jordan wouldn't be what he was. Yes, he was a top scorer. He could score on anybody. He could play defense. But we all know Scottie Pippen is the reason why he won those championships. When Jordan was playing in the 80s, he had superstars. They were old. They were probably washed up. But he definitely had superstars. So, I mean, Jordan was amazing. He was an amazing guy. He could score on anybody, but he had an ego. He felt like he could do it all on his own, and he didn't have good shooters on his team then. think he had what was his name? The guy who did the finger rolls. I forgot his name off the top of my head. We used to play for the Spurs. Iceman. George Gervin. That's what his name was. He had him, but he was at the end of his career. But when Scottie Pippen came into place, that was a steal because I believe he was at a junior college when they picked him up. And I think 87. Correct me if I'm wrong. 87. And he was drafted to the Supersonics, and they traded him for Odin Polonese. Let me know if that's right, if that's the truth. But anyway, Scotty had the potential, but he didn't have the confidence, right? He didn't have the confidence. So as you can see, when he went to the Pistons, well, even before that, Charles Oakley used to bully him on the team. There's video of that, but I digress on that. So once Scottie Pippen started emerging as a superstar, and they won that championship against LA, and like I said, gives respect to Scottie because Scottie held Magic Johnson down. Magic couldn't even score on him. He had him full court to full court. But at that point, he realized he was he was worth something. And one of the biggest mistakes that Scottie Pippen made was trying to override that contract that he had. No, I believe he had time. He wanted to negotiate his contract. That's what it was. And I think they were actually dealing with CBS at the time. So the NBA, shout out to Stern, was making big moves at that time because they had a contract with CBS, and then they went to NBC. How many people remember that song? But there was a negotiation, so people told Scottie to hold off. Just wait. Sometimes this is a learning experience. Sometimes you have to wait for the bag. See, most people, they want their money up front. They want all their money up front. But people who make a lot of money, sometimes they'll do it for free. They'll tell them, hey, look, just pay me on the back end. Let me show you what I can do for you. Then when I make you money, then I want a percentage of that. That back end money is good. That residual money. That money that you can sleep at night. But Scottie didn't want to wait, and I understand that because I believe his mom and his father was sick, and he had like tons of brothers and sisters. He had like about 10 brothers and sisters. I might be performing hyperbole, but he got a lot of siblings. So even NBA players said, "Wait, this is '92." So then you have Reggie Miller and all of them told him to wait on that contract. Just wait because the Olympics was coming. And that's why it was so imperative and it was so important for Michael Jordan to play in that finals and also play in that Olympics because it made it global. It was getting that global paper. And they was doing all these negotiations, but he didn't want to wait. And the Bulls owner stated, hey, you should wait on this, but once you sign this contract, I am not changing. And we all knew that because even Jordan told him that. Because Jordan wasn't getting paid a lot of money. He was like one of the lowest paid as well. He didn't make all that money till I believe the second time he came back. Or the first time he came back, in 96. So Scottie Pippen was disgruntled then. And then they heard about Jerry Krause was like, hey, we need Jerry Krause. Put respect on his name too. He was a small Napoleon complex guy, but he knew how to recruit and he knew how to look for talent because Michael Jordan didn't want Michael Jordan wanted all North Carolina players, like everybody from North Carolina was God sent to wear the blue. You know, so there were certain people that they picked from North Carolina and they were trash. But one thing I found out is Michael and Scottie really didn't have a great relationship, and I'm going to play this clip in a minute, but they really didn't have that good of a relationship. I remember reading the Jordan Rules, where great book, but it showed how the arrogance of Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan got different privileges than the rest of the team. So on that level, they couldn't even travel with them. Their families couldn't travel with them, except for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's family could travel with the team, but nobody else can. It was just that how it was. But Scottie went into bed. Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause started to recruit, and he found a guy. Now he found Scottie. Remember, he found Scottie Pippen. He found Horace Grant, and all those maneuvers because Michael Jordan wanted to keep Oakley, which it was a great move that they got rid of Oakley. Right? So they found this young man, Kukos, who was playing since he was 17 years old. And they were trying to get him over there. So during the Olympics, they saw him playing for, I think, Croatia. And that's when, if you watch the documentary, they doubled him on the first time they played him and they shut him down. But the second time they played him, Kukos was getting buckets on him, but they still lost. So it was perfect timing. So when Jordan, all that stuff was going on with his life where he retired, they needed a new star and they got him over there. So Krause was his baby. I mean, that was his baby right there, Kukos. And they paid him more than he paid Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was pissed off since then. Fast forward, 1994. He first year without Jordan, and they're not missing a beat. I think they won like 53 games. The year before with Jordan, they won 55 games. So they were rolling and they were passing the ball. See, Michael Jordan really didn't want to do the triangle offense. You know, if you pass it to him, he really wasn't going to pass it back. Right? So Pippen was the first time he was able to play and be the star he was, and he showed out. I think that was his best year statistically, and I think that was his prime. He was beating on everybody, right? But then they get to the Knicks, and he's mad because Phil Jackson called another play for Kukos. Now, Kukos was scoring on that play. They did that play so many times that year, and he was hitting game winners with the same play. Now, I agree with the other people like Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller said the same thing. He was saying, that wasn't a racist act for calling a play for somebody else. He said sometimes you need a decoy because everybody knows the ball's going to go to you. So in my book, that's called coaching. Right? But I digress on that too. So anyway, Scottie Pippen had a problem with it, and he didn't want to go in the game. He was pouting. Kukos hit the shot, and when they went into that locker room, the team cried like a baby. Even though they won, they said, "You're supposed to be our leader, and you abandoned us." And they end up, I think the next game, Pippen was so mad he dunked on Patrick Ewing with one of the famous dunks, probably top 10, top 20 dunk on Patrick Ewing. And he was pissed, but They end up losing the series. Then next year, it wasn't playing as well. Then Michael Jordan came back. And then Michael Jordan got all the shine. So anyway, I'm gonna play this clip, and we're gonna keep it further. Let's see if I can get this clip going up here. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the audio, but anyway, I don't know why the audio is not playing. Let's see. Double check this audio. One moment. I don't know. But anyway, I'll check it in a minute. But so Dan Patrick was on. I mean, he was on there, and he was basically upset at Phil Jackson, and Scottie Pippen decided to talk about because Dan Patrick allowed him to try to fix his statement, and he didn't do that. He basically doubled down on it and said, "Hey, he is racist." He said, "Did you see what he did to Scottie Pippen, or excuse me, Kobe Bryant?" He's like, he went after Kobe Bryant. He left the place of the Lakers, wrote a book about him, then came back and coached him. Well, Scottie's not telling the whole story on that situation. Now, although I do agree with him, I do agree with him on that partially because he shouldn't have wrote a book about one of his players, but they didn't like each other. It wasn't a racial thing. Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, he was a young man and he was not feeling him. He was not feeling anybody. He was like me against the world. He went even against Shaq. And so at one point he went to Jerry Buss and said, "I want Shaq and Phil Jackson out of here." So obviously Phil Jackson was upset. He even tried to have Michael Jordan talk to Kobe Bryant, and Kobe wasn't hearing it. And then Kobe realized after he had Mike Brown and a couple of other coaches that Phil was the best for him to accomplish his goal. So he basically asked it for Phil with Jeannie Buss, because Jeannie Buss was dating Phil Jackson, to come back. So that's what happened. So I can't fully say that was a racist move. It was I don't like Kobe, and it is what it is. So I digress on that as well. Now he did do some shaky things, like I think in when he was coaching the Knicks, I think he said a racial statement then, and social media blew up. But in my opinion, I don't think Phil Jackson is racist, not at all. He may not understand African American players, but racist is not. And most people came out and said that's not true. Like Horace Robert Ory did it. He came out. Um, and I know that Shaq did it as well. He basically said he's not racist. So I think Scottie Pippen just getting his feelings a lot. You know, he talked about that situation, and he's really mad at Michael Jordan for putting his business out there, basically, because it did happen. You know, from 1994 to 1997. Excuse me, no, 1996 to 1998. Uh, he wanted to leave. He wanted to get traded. He didn't want to play for the Bulls anymore because they would not honor his request to increase his income because he felt like he was worth more. And you know, you're like one of the lowest players and you're the best players. I get it. So in 1998, he wasn't going to be there. He had that back issue. If everybody noticed, he wasn't playing as well, so he was over playing for them. And Michael basically did everything himself that year in 1998 because Dennis Rodman wasn't playing as well. Kukos was playing good, but they were not winning like they used to. Oh yeah. So anyway, I remember that year they lost to like Vancouver. I think Mahmoud Raoul gave them buckets, and they won that game. But it wasn't the same, right? So you know, Scotty, I disagree. Then he went. Then he finally got paid when he went to Houston, and that was just a disaster. It was a disaster. They had a super team pretty much. Charles Barkley, which he was at the end of his career. Charles should have retired a couple years ago. Before that, he was not playing at his best. I think his best year was '93, and then after that, went downhill. They had Clyde Drexler. He was at the end of his career. He was drafted in probably like '82, so you can imagine that he was done. Another person was done was Olajuwon. He was done. So the team wasn't that good. I think the point guard was Mobley, and I want to say Steve Francis came in after. I don't remember, but the next year, but it was a disastrous year. And then he goes to Portland, where he could have been number one there, but he was not as good. He had his chance to be the guy there because when they were playing the Lakers, they were projected to win that game. It was Game 7, and they were up by like what 20 something points in the fourth quarter, and Kobe and Shaq just went to town on them. And even back when um, Kukos hit that shot, the play before Scottie Pippen had the ball, and he threw up a brick. Like I forgot who was watching him, but he threw up a brick. So why would you call his number again if the play before that he threw a brick and then Patrick Ewing got down and scored the point and they were losing. So the next best thing is Tony Kukoc. That's my thing. So I don't know, man. Scottie Pippen, I know he's promoting this bourbon that he's selling, and he got this book, and it's going to be interesting about this book. I'm definitely going to buy this book to see what he says about Michael Jordan, the great Michael Jordan. But he is feeling unappreciated in this NBA. And I mean, you chose to play with him, and I think it was a good choice for you. I mean, obviously, you could have been a star on any team. That's one thing I do love about the NBA in the past because every superstar had their own team. So it would have been good, but you know, I don't know. I guess he's not liking the critics, and then he's coming after Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant is another sensitive guy. He's coming after everybody. Shout out to Kwame. Kwame don't enjoy people talking about athletes, but I digress. I'm like, this is what we do. We talk about people. Like if you had a restaurant and then they had bad service, wouldn't you talk about the service even though you're not a cook? We watch the NBA, we watch NFL, we paying for it, so of course we're going to talk about it. So I debunked that. Now I agree with what Kwame says when he talks about you shouldn't talk about people's families like that. I think that's disrespectful, and I do agree with what Kwame was saying in regards to if you talk about someone so bad, and I'm not talking about like the public, but I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith's, and you're calling people bums, that brings down their value, and like one thing Kwame said that I agree with is, if you're keep talking about something and the public is not going to be okay with you spending that type of money, and they may stop coming to your establishment. So I do agree with that, but hey, as far as these athletes, like you get paid millions of dollars, man. That's just come with the territory. Every one thing that Charles Barkley said, every athlete is going to get criticized. Get over it. You just got to build tough skin. When Jordan didn't win for those 8 years, they criticized him. They said he just can score, but he can't win. And then you saw the joy when he won his first championship. He didn't want to get rid of that trophy. Shaq had the same thing. You remember when Shaq cried when he lost to Olajuwon because he was getting so much criticism. I remember Wilt Chamberlain was talking so greasy to Shaq in the 90s. He said Shaq didn't have any skills. And he said George Morrison, how many people remember him? He said he had better skills than him. He heard this. Kobe Bryant heard it. Kobe Bryant, man, I remember he shot 4 air balls in a game in like 1997 in a playoff game. And he got criticized for that. And then when when Shaq left and they had a different coach and they couldn't get to the playoffs. So I don't know, man. These people are very sensitive. But Scottie, he wants to be in the media. He works for ESPN, I think. I know he'd be on the jump. So you're going to get criticized, and I don't get offended by the stuff that he says out here. When he's talking about Kevin Durant, I disagree with a lot of stuff he says, but hey, man, that's his opinion. Everybody got an opinion, right? So Phil Jackson for sure is not racist. Nah, not at all. He's old. You ever been around an old person and they just don't understand, but they're going to say what they're going to say. That's just what it is. It's just a part of understanding. Now, if you want to say Phil Jackson is a manipulator, yes, he is. Because he knows how to get you to do things that you don't want to do. With that zen and that whatever he does, that hippie stuff. He in the past he made it the players versus establishment. Players versus establishment. So he had the players saying the establishment is against us. Even like at the and Scottie was right about this. Scottie said, he should have called that play for me. Now I disagree with that. But he says, Dan Patrick said, well, he called the play for Steve Kerr, didn't he? You remember when Michael Jordan looked at him and said, the ball's coming to you? And one thing Scottie said is, "Come on, man, you get me started." He said, "Who was those cameras working for?" He said, "Every year with Michael Jordan, they always had a documentary just for him, and then they had a documentary for the Bulls." He said that was scripted. That's deep. He said that play was for Michael. He said if John Stockton didn't get off his man, Michael would have took that shot. Excuse me, took that shot instead of Steve Kerr. That's what he said. Now, let me say it again. Scottie Pippen said, and I agree with him on this. He said that play that went to Steve Kerr was for Michael. He wrote that play for Michael. And Michael, with his cameras, with the documentary cameras that they had all around him, he said they were working for them. So that was a script that, like, the ball's going to come to you, Steve. And Steve said, what did he say? "I'll be ready." But he wrote it for him. He wrote it for Michael. And Michael knew that Stockton was going to try to double him, so he passed it. So that's what Scottie Pippen was talking about. He said, "I was the guy on the team. You should have had to play for me." So, but I can't say it was a racist thing. It was a coaching strategy. Now, back in the day before Phil Jackson um, talked to Michael, you know, Doug Collins was writing plays that for Michael. No, it was for John Paxson a couple times because they knew Michael Jordan was going to be triple. And what did Michael do? He flipped out and smacked the clipboard down and said, "Give me the effing ball." So I don't know. I mean, Scottie, since all these players are coming out, I mean, this is my opinion. Y'all can, you know, debunk what I'm saying, but I don't think he's a top 50 player with the new players that came in. I think some of those top 50 players that was ranked in 1996 or whenever they did that, a lot of them players shouldn't be in there because Duncan wasn't playing then. Kevin Durant wasn't playing when they did this list. I don't know if Jason Kidd was on there, but there's a lot of players that's on that top 50 list to not be on there. Now I don't think. I mean, it's debatable if Scottie Pippen should be on that list now. You got Tracy McGrady, Carter wasn't on that list. You had Iverson wasn't on that list. Dwayne Wade wasn't on that list. How many people gonna get kicked off of that 50 right now? LeBron wasn't on that list. Like I said, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, I think deserves to be on that list. I'm trying to think some. Did I say Duncan? I can't remember. But there's a lot of people will be on that top 50 list, man. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Now, what I want to talk about real quick is Chris Paul, man. Chris Paul was getting it done yesterday, man. I'm really proud of them, man. I'm a Phoenix fan right now. I'm a jumper. I jump all the time, but I watched that game yesterday, man. Playoff P turned into pandemic P. I think he had like 25 points or something like that. I don't remember. I have to look it up. Let me see here. Playoff P, man. He went right back to pandemic P. Now, I do think if Leonard was playing, they would have probably beat them. That's just my opinion. Let me see. NBA game. Yeah, I think he would have. They would have won with Leonard. Leonard was on the roll before he got hurt. And he was definitely one of the reasons why they were coming back because they were down 0-2 in every series, including this one. And then he gets hurt. Let me pull up these stats from you. Yes, let's see. How many people saw Patrick Beverly looking like OG Bubby Johnson out there? Let me see. He got real thug out there, man. I thought I was watching Above the Rim. Let's look at these stats here. pull him up. Now, Chris Paul, man, that brother was balling. Facts. Can you believe it? 36 years old, just getting it done. And what I like about what he was doing, let me pull up his stats here real quick. See if I can. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. You can see this real quick. Yeah, man. What I like, what he was doing, man. Chris Paul, man, he had 35, 4, and 8. And I think he was shooting, what, 16 for 24? Let's see if I can move this around. But, man, and what I like about what he was doing, it was just so smart to me, is he was hitting the mid range. And a lot of people said it's the death of mid range shots. And me, I don't feel that way. I think, especially like people like him and Ben Simmons, you'll be more effective if you go for that shot. Now, obviously, the people who do the analytics will disagree, but if you're not a 3-point shooting team, which they are, I'm not going to say they're not, but when you can hit that mid range shot, man, it actually brings out the defense. So they were trying to double him and switch because they were doing pick and rolls, and he was just hitting that shot, and he was able to dish the ball. I think that's very effective, and that's what like Michael was doing, and that's why I feel like Michael Jordan would be really good in this era. You know, one of these videos I'm gonna do a thing is who's the better shooter, Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. I want to talk about that, but he was just so intelligent in that paint, man. Like once he got in that paint, he did a little fadeaway. He was banging them shots, man, and he was getting fouled. And then a couple times he stretched the D out by hitting the three, and I'm proud of him, man, because when Chris Paul got into the league, he had a reputation of not being a great teammate, and so he went to a lot of teams. So I don't know if he's still like that, but this team he really enjoys. He really likes that, man. Playing next to Booker and Crowder, like Crowder, I can't believe this dude is shooting this well, man. I don't understand it, but because when he was playing on the East, when Jordan was giving him, I mean not Jordan, LeBron was giving him the business. He wasn't shooting like this. So he definitely worked on his shot, you know. Yeah, I'm rooting for them, man. And I know when Chris Paul, when he was playing for New Orleans, he was dope. He was dope, you know. But I want them to win. And right now, it shows the fact that whoever is going to be healthy is going to win. You have Giannis over there. Thank goodness they said it's not that serious like it could have been with his extended knee. He may play. I think if they win the series, he'll probably play in the finals. But I think that'd be foolish if they let him play now, because just the mental part of knowing that your knee's messed up will you wouldn't play to your full potential. So I'm definitely watching that game today. I do want Atlanta to win. I'm rooting for them because I'm down South Florida anyway, so I want them to win. Yeah, and yeah, but I actually enjoyed these playoffs, man. Minus LeBron playing, and I believe the ratings are up. So it's good basketball. So definitely a shout out to Chris Paul. Excuse me. Now, yeah, did I hear Damian Lillard? He may not stay. Um, I just wish they get some players around him, man. I wish he goes to the Lakers, because if he went to the Lakers, they would definitely run the table. But he's a loyal guy, and sometimes loyal people finish last, you know. But it is what it is. Now, real quick, And last but not least, to get the little boxing. I am looking forward to this fight. I spelled it wrong. Give me a second here. I'll just have it. But real quickly, I want to talk about Wilder. Got to put the L in there. But Wilder and Fury. Now they fighting on the 24th, and I'm really excited about it. Um, I don't know what to expect, man, because with Wilder, although he doesn't have boxing skills, he has that what you call equalizer, that punching power. So he can mess up the whole fight and then bam, just catch you with that punch and it's over. Now I was telling all my friends, family members when we were talking about this Wilder and Fury. I'm like, did you watch Fury's skills? Like Fury has some skills to be 300 and something pounds. So he can slip those punches, and he has a little power as well. And he's a 6'9" fighter. So, and Wilder really never fought anybody. He fought Ortiz, yes, and that was probably his biggest fight. And quite frankly, Ortiz is older, but that was a great fight. And Ortiz got caught twice, so Wilder has his number. But Wilder never messed with somebody like a Fury before, man. Like Fury is a boxer. Like he's always moving and slipping, and when he knocked him down the first time, when Fury got knocked down, everybody said he was dead. I watched it last night. And he just opened his eyes, just popped open. He just got up. Now, technically, he should have lost that fight because the count was too long. Like when he got up, he was at 10. Well, he basically said 9. He let him get up, and he said, "Are you ready to fight?" And he said, "Yeah." And I remember Fury grabbed the ref's shoulders. The ref smacked it off him. He said, go to the right. He walked to the right. And then he said, go to the left. So anyway, Fury should have lost that. He should have lost that first fight. And if he would have lost that first fight, I don't believe Wilder would have fought him again. I think he would have went over to fight or tried to fight Joshua. Shout out to Terry watching. It's not Wilder's fault. There's nobody out there, cuz you're right. It's not his fault. It's just the time. It's he beat everybody they put in front of him. And one thing I do respect about Wilder, that he's not scared to fight anybody. I think he's foolish for doing this one. I think he should have tried to fight Joshua. I think he should have went over to Joshua and fought him. Beat him because I believe he could beat him. And then if you want to fight, I would have stayed away from dude. I just don't think he could beat. Styles make fights, so I don't think he could beat Tyson. But you could have beat the other guy, man. I believe you because I don't know. Joshua could fight too. He got a little skill, but I just think he's going to get caught. You saw what Ruiz did to him. And if it wasn't for Ruiz going to party because he never been this successful before, he didn't train for that second fight. I think he did what what's the one guy's name? Duran did. Like when Duran beat up Sugar Ray and put him in retirement. And Sugar Ray knew that he wasn't training, so he was like, I want to fight now. Like that was strategic on Sugar Ray's name, man. But anyway, I am looking forward to it. I don't like what Wilder is doing as far as the promotions of the fight, because that make me just think that you're scared. Like you got headphones on, you're not promoting a fight, and why Tyson Fury is good at getting in people's heads, so maybe that's what it was. And then Tyson said something key. He was like, the trainer that you have, you I beat you too. And what did he say? He said Wilder beat him up. So what are you going to teach him differently that he you can't? It's impossible. So anyway, now I saw some training videos with Wilder, and I mean Wilder looks good, but Tyson is right. He said all I'm going to do is punch you, and all that stuff going to go out the door because all you know is the equalizer. So I think he's going to look okay in the first round, and that's kind of shaky because he had this thing going on where he got the highest percentage of knockouts right now, the highest percentage. So give him a shout out for that. And now you're going to try to change up your style, and you're what 36, I think. Terry, how much? How old is he? Like 36? I don't remember. If he's still there, but and Breland came out and said something about him because he's talking about, oh, he spiked my drink. Like, I remember Roy Jones came out and talked about him, man. And he talked about, he's like, why are you making all these excuses? He's like, I used to rap before the fight. I would play full court basketball. He's like, you decided to wear that stuff. And I wish I had that queued up, his video, because he was like, oh, I had 45 pounds of weight on me. But then there was a video he did years ago where saying he always trained with 45-pound weights on him. So he was prepared for that. But now you're making excuses. And then you're going to tell Breland that he spiked his drink. Now, I watched the interview with, what was it? Holyfield. And Holyfield agrees with him. He said something was wrong, and I think he did, his drink was spiked. I don't believe that. I believe he punched you in the ear just like he punched your trainer in the ear because he did the same thing to him. And you never got hit like that, except for I think Ortiz rocked him, you know. And then I watched this video. I need to check it out. It's on YouTube. Maybe I'll try to pull it up right now. I don't know how the audio is. Aaron, you're right. Headphones tell the story. Fury is in his head. Truth. I definitely believe that. But I want to play this video if I can. Let me stop this stream real quick. Where Fury's footwork. Get this out of here. Stop this stream. But I'm gonna play Fury's footwork real fast, man. I mean not Fury. I keep saying Fury. Fury's on my mind. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to find this video with Wilder's footwork. This is how sloppy he is a fighter. Here we go. Play this video real fast. This is why I think he's gonna get smashed, man. Because I don't think he can teach this overnight. I think this is years of experience when you're fighting. Let's see if you can see this, guys. This is Wilder, man. Go back here. Go back to this screen here. Make it big. All right, so here we go. this, man. Like he's a brawler. He could fight. Yeah, he'll knock you the mess out. But look at it. Look at this. Look at this. He's not keeping up his right hand by his ear. Look at him swinging it out of control. Look at that. This is why Tyson Fury beat him. This is a mess. This ain't. I don't believe this is the video I was trying to check out though. But anyway, let me stop this video real fast. This ain't the one I wanted to look at. But anyway, it is what it is. Back up out of here. That wasn't the one. There was a guy. Pivot Expo. This is what it was. This is it. Here we go. Not putting his guard up. Look at that. Pay attention, folks. Boxing 101. Pay attention. So let me pause that right there. So like I said, I think he will be able to. I mean, he's going to look good in the first couple rounds, but I think I agree with the Gypsy King that he's going to go right back to how he was fighting, and he's probably going. You know, Tyson's going to taunt him. You remember it? What did he lick him? He's going to be taunting him. He licked him the last time. I remember that. But and then dude's going to get pissed off, and he's going to go right back to what he's used to. And like I said, Braylon, um, you know, he was a respected boxer. He used to be his trainer, and one thing he said is he don't like to train, and it depends on if he have a bad mood, how the training session is going to be. And right now, you know, this is a pride thing, but I am excited to watch this fight. You know, so July 24th, I'm going to watch this fight. You know, but with that, man, definitely hit the subscribe and the like buttons and the notification bell. I got a couple videos I'm putting out this week on the channel. And that's it. You guys have a rest of the great afternoon. And I'll talk to you soon.